Hello, my listeners. Today I want us to talk about the synopsis of the novel Beloved by Toni Morrison, or you can call it the summary. This is the detailed summary of Beloved by Toni Morrison. Now, I want to tell you that this is the most detailed summary that you can ever find online. There is no other summary that you will get which is more detailed than this one. So first things first, who is this book best suited for? So this novel will appeal to you if you are a reader interested in African American literature. Another person who will be interested in this book is readers interested in historical fiction, readers with an open mind and willingness to be challenged, readers interested in expanding their understanding of the enduring legacy of slavery. It will also appeal to scholars and students of African American literature, history and culture. It will also appeal to book clubs and discussion groups which are focused on social justice, racial equality and the human experience. It will also appeal to community leaders as it can be used as a catalyst for discussions and initiatives that promote social justice, healing and understanding in communities. Lastly, this book can appeal to mental health professionals to provide context, or the book can provide context and understanding for individuals working with those affected by trauma, mental health issues, and the enduring effects of historical oppression. Additionally, this great summary of Beloved can help you decide whether you should commit your resources to buying the book, which of course if you want to stock it in your home library or you want to gift somebody, this summary can help you decide if it is the best fit for you. So before we go on further, let's have the first things first. So what we shall talk about, we will talk about the main topic of the book, the main theme in this beloved novel, the general overview, that is we shall talk about why the book is titled Beloved, the significance, why is it titled so. Then we can also check on the significance of, that is the title, we've said that, significance of the title. We'll also talk about the plot and the summary of the plot. You will be able to go briefly on the plot and know what the book is about, what to expect in the book. Then we'll also go ahead to talk on the genre, that is the genre of the book, publication and the writing style that Toni Morrison used to write this book. We'll also go ahead and talk about the main characters and their roles in this novel. We'll know about the main characters. We'll not go about all the characters, but just the main ones. Then we also look at the key themes which have been presented in this novel. The key themes, yes, the key themes, not all of them. Then we also go ahead to talk about how are these themes, which we'll talk about, relevant in our lives today. How are the themes relevant? Then we also go ahead to see a summary of some chapter titles and main sections, not exactly they are in the book, but just a summary. Then we'll go ahead to talk about the key takeaways and conclusions that you can make from this book, which is Beloved. Then we'll talk about the bio or background and qualifications of Toni Morrison, who is the author of this book. Then we'll go ahead to compare some books which are related to Beloved. We will see some books which are compared, their differences and maybe their similarities. We'll also go ahead to talk of the target audience. Of course, we had begun this earlier on, but we can still go ahead and talk of the target audience and intended readership of the novel. Then going further, we'll also talk about the reception or the critical response to the book. How have people received it? Has it been criticized either positively or negatively, etc.? Then we'll also go ahead to talk. We'll give you some recommendations of other books which are related to Beloved. Then going further, we'll also look at I'll also give you the biggest takeaway from the book. Then I'll also help you understand how we can, or you can, apply the knowledge you've gotten from this book in real life. There are some lessons, key lessons that Beloved novel by Toni Morrison teaches us that we can really apply in our real life. So I'll give you a few examples on how we can apply the book's knowledge. Then, of course, I'll tell you where to buy the book and how to do it. You can support us. I'll put the link in the description of this audio, or that is this episode. You can support us. It's an affiliate link. So why don't we get started? I'm sure that you've you can have something to write, or it is still okay. We can just go ahead, because of course it's a podcast, an audio one. Maybe you are listening while you are doing your workout, or maybe you are doing your other things. There's no problem. But I think we are okay. We are good. Now let's go to the main topic. So Beloved is a novel by Toni Morrison that explores the legacy of slavery in the United States. It tells the story of Sethe, that is Sethe, Sethe, a former slave who was, that is the slave who was now the Sethe, escaped to Cincinnati, Ohio with her daughter, Denver. So we have Sethe and Denver. Those are characters. So Sethe, we shall find out that she's the main protagonist in this novel, is haunted by the memory of her other daughter who was Beloved. So Beloved, the title of this novel, is also the name of one of Sethe's daughters who died when she was only 2 years old. So Sethe believes that Beloved's spirit has returned to her, and the novel follows Sethe's struggle to come to terms with her past and to create a new life for herself and her daughter. So if we talk of three characters there, we have Sethe, the main protagonist, who is a mother, a slave. Then we also have, she has a daughter who is Denver. And then Sethe also had another daughter who died when she was 2 years old, and the daughter was called Beloved, or Beloved, whichever you pronounce it. So what is the main theme? What is the main theme provided or presented in this novel, Beloved? So the theme, or the main theme of Toni Morrison's novel, Beloved, is the enduring impact of slavery on the lives of African Americans. So that is the main theme. The novel explores how the trauma of slavery continues to haunt the enslaved and their descendants, even generations after the end of slavery itself. Let's go to the general overview of the novel. Why is the book titled Beloved? So the word beloved serves as a reminder of Sethe's deep love for her deceased child, whose presence haunts her home and disrupts her life. The child who died at the hands of, now the child, we don't know the real name of the child, the child is just referred to as Beloved. So the child who died at the hands of Sethe in an attempt to spare her from the horrors of slavery becomes a symbol of enduring impact of trauma and the haunting absence of love. So this child, Beloved, died at the hands of the mother, who was Sethe, in an attempt to spare her from slavery. So Sethe's inability to name her daughter and the simplicity of the tombstone inscription, Beloved, underscore the profound emotional weight of the child's loss. So where the child was buried, the tombstone is inscribed with the words beloved. So throughout the novel, Sethe's relationship with the ghost of beloved represents her struggle to confront her past and find healing. The ghostly presence serves as a constant reminder of Sethe's traumatic experiences and the depth of her grief. The title Beloved also highlights the power of love that transcends physical boundaries and persist even in the face of death. You see that Sethe's love for her child remains steadfast despite the child's physical absence. The child was buried, but the love is still there. And this love serves as a source of both pain and strength for Sethe. We shall see that as we go on. So in the broader sense of this title or this novel, the title Beloved, that is encapsulates the collective memory of the enslaved people. So it is a novel that gives maybe the experiences or the memory of the people who are enslaved and how slavery can impact many generations to come. So the novel explores how trauma of slavery continues to haunt the lives of those who endured it and their descendants, and the title serves as a poignant reminder of the human cost of this enduring legacy. So what is the significance of the title Beloved? We are now on the significance. So it refers, number one, it refers to the ghost of Sethe's child, who is a constant presence in her life. Number two, the title also refers to the love that Sethe has for all of her children, both living and dead. Number three, the title is also a commentary on the dehumanizing effects of slavery. Number four, the title is also a reminder of the importance of memory and the need to confront the past in order to heal. Then lastly, the title is also an invocation of the reader's own capacity for love and compassion. Well, let's go ahead to now the plot summary of Beloved. This is a novel by Toni Morrison. So, as at now, I know you are aware that we talk of the main protagonist is Sethe. So the story begins with Sethe. So the story revolves around Sethe, that is, who is a former slave who has escaped to freedom. She was a slave, but now she has escaped to freedom. But the remains of the past, the traumatic memories of her past, are still haunting her, traumatic, and so on. So, Beloved, the spectre of a deceased child. So it is a significance of Beloved, just like the title is said, that it means the child. That means the child who died. So we say that Beloved, the spectre of her deceased child, returns to claim a place in Sethe's life, disrupting the fragile peace she has built for herself. So Beloved, as we've seen from the significance and why the book is titled that, it also depicts or it symbolizes the ghost of the child. So it is also a ghost. So the ghost, well, the ghost of the child, let's just say that, comes to haunt Sethe, to disrupt. She wants a place in Sethe's life once again. So Sethe has to grapple with that. So the novel's narrative unfolds through a series of interconnected vignettes, shifting perspectives between Sethe, her daughter Denver, and the enigmatic Paul D. We have another character called Paul D., a fellow former slave who arrives in Sethe's life, offering both compassion and a shared understanding of her past. So we have Paul D., who is also a former slave with Sethe. He now comes to Sethe's life, and he comes to give compassion and understanding of the past, because they were slaves, so they know Paul D knows the impact of slavery, how it was. So his work is to give compassion. So as the narrative progresses, the ghostly presence of Beloved intensifies, her demands growing increasingly despite, that is desperate. The demands of her deceased daughter becomes more, draining Seth's life and threatening to consume her entirely. So Seth's past is gradually revealed through flashbacks, exposing the brutality and dehumanization she endured at Sweet Home, a plantation in Kentucky. The memory of her escape from Sweet Home and the decision she made to protect her children from slavery's grasp, which weigh heavily on her mind, casting a shadow over her present. So we know what happened there. We have seen that Seth was a slave in this plantation. We are calling it the Sweet Home. It is in Kentucky, according to the novel. So Seth made a decision to escape from that, and we have that flashback of what happened, etc. Then Paul D's arrival, Paul D, just the letter D, brings a glimmer of hope for Seth, a connection to her past, and a potential for healing. However, Paul D's inability to fully comprehend the depth of her trauma and his own struggles with his own past create obstacles to their relationship. Remember, Paul D is also facing some traumatic moments, memories. So as much as he has come to help Seth, he's also grappling with how he will settle his traumas, etc. So it is also a challenging. Such a situation also brings some conflicts or some obstacles between her relationship, that is his relationship with Seth. So amidst this turmoil and haunting presence of Beloved, the resilience of the human spirit shines through. Denver, remember Denver is the other child of Seth. Seth had two daughters, Denver and Beloved, the one that we are calling Beloved. So Denver, now isolated and emotionally scared by her mother's trauma, finds strength in her connection to the community and the shared history of her people. The community itself, bound by their shared experiences of slavery and loss, provides a network of support and understanding, offering solace and a sense of belonging. The climax of this novel comes with the arrival of a group of women from the community who sense the destructive power of the Beloved's presence and seek to exorcise her spirit. Through their collective strength and shared understanding, they manage to release Beloved's hold on Seth, allowing both mother and daughter to begin the process of healing. So the real help came from the community that Seth really needed. But she was haunted by the spirit of her daughter, right? So in the aftermath, Seth and Denver are left to grapple. Now, remember, we are now have mother and daughter again. So in the aftermath, Seth and Denver are left to grapple with the lingering effects of Beloved's presence and the indelible scars of their past. However, the community's intervention and the enduring power of love offer a glimmer of hope for a brighter future. Well, let's go to the genre, publication, and the writing style. So, genre. What type of story is Beloved? So, where can we place it in the literature, genre, or categories? So, Beloved belongs to genres of historical fiction and magical realism. So, we can place it into those two genres, that is historical fiction and magical realism. Historical fiction, what is historical fiction in itself? Is a genre in which novels are set in the past, often incorporating real historical events and figures. Those are stories of the past, which we can say they are real stories. So magical realism, on the other hand, that we've said, is a genre in which magical elements are blended into an otherwise realistic setting. Remember we talked about the group of women from the community who came to help Sethe, that is separate Sethe from the ghost or the spirit of the child who was dead. So in Beloved, Sethe's encounters with the ghost of a child beloved are a prima example of magical realism. When was this book published? Publication of the book Beloved was published in 1987 by Alfred Knopf. It was Morrison's fifth novel, and it received widespread critical acclaim. The novel also won some prizes, such as the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 1988, and was nominated for the National Book Critics Circle Award. Writing style of this book by Morrison. Morrison's writing style is characterized by its use of vivid imagery, poetic language, and multiple narrators. She often uses stream of consciousness narration, in which the thoughts and feelings of the characters are revealed in a continuous stream. This technique is particularly effective in capturing the complex emotions of Sethe and other characters who are grappling with the trauma of slavery. Now, Morrison's use of language is also notable. She is a master of creating evocative imagery and using language to convey the emotional and psychological experiences of her characters. Her prose is often poetic and lyrical, and she is not afraid to use unconventional language and syntax. Right? Let's go ahead to now the other section whereby we talk of the main characters. Of course, I know you know them now. I'll just mention them briefly. So the main characters in this novel, Beloved, we have we'll talk of around, let's say, 5. We have Sethe, who is the novel's protagonist. She's a former slave who escaped to freedom but remains haunted by the trauma of her past. So that is the first character, the main one. Denver, who is the Sethe's youngest daughter, who is withdrawn and emotionally scared young woman. Beloved, the spectral manifestation of Sethe's deceased child. We have Paul D. We've talked of Paul D. before. He is a fellow former slave who arrives in Sethe's life, offering compassion and shared understanding of their past. We have Baby Shags, who is Sethe's mother-in-law, a former slave also, who embodies a collective suffering of generations of enslaved people. School teacher is another character, a cruel and sadistic white man who owns Sweet Home Plantation. Sweet Home Plantation, I hope you remember, we said this is the place where it's a plantation where Sethe and the rest of the community were slaves. And then you have Stamp and Paid, that is Stamp Paid, who is a community elder and a former slave. So those are the main characters. Then when we go now to the key themes, remember we talked of this, the key theme, the main theme that is presented, and we talked of the impact of slavery, the traumas that are involved, etc. But now we have other key themes which are also presented in that book, which is Beloved. One of them is legacy of slavery. Of course, it is a book about slavery, the torture, etc. So one of the main key themes is legacy of slavery. So this novel explores how the horrors of slavery continue to haunt the lives of African Americans who, even after the Civil War has ended, they are still haunted by that past. It depicts the physical, emotional, and psychological scars left by slavery. The second theme is trauma and memory. Morrison examines the lasting trauma and the power of memory as the characters grapple with their past. The ghostly presence of beloved serves as a symbol of represented memories and unresolved trauma. The third key theme is motherhood and sacrifice. The story revolves around the complex mother-daughter relationship, particularly that of Sethe and her children. It examines the sacrifices mothers make for their children and the impact of those sacrifices for both the mother and the children. So the other key theme is identity and self-definition. Beloved raises questions about how individuals define themselves in the face of history of dehumanization. Characters struggle to establish their own identities and reclaim their humanity. The other key theme is humanity, that is community and isolation. The novel contrasts the importance of community support and the isolating effects of trauma. Characters seek solace in the community of ex-slaves known as the Sweet Home, but they also grapple with the isolation resulting from their traumatic pasts. Another key theme, that is we can talk of another key theme, the power of love and memory. The power of love and memory. So love and memory are intertwined. They are intertwined in this novel, demonstrating their profound impact on the lives of the characters. Sethe's love for her children is a powerful force that motivates her actions, even her most extreme ones. Memory, while a source of pain and trauma, also serves as a connection to the past and the source of strength. Resilience of the human spirit is another theme. Despite the unimaginable suffering they have endured, the characters in Beloved exhibit extraordinary resilience. They find ways to survive and even thrive, drawing strength from their shared experiences and their connections to community. Then another key theme is the power of language. Morrison's use of language in Beloved is masterful, evoking emotions and creativity that lingers long after the final page is turned. Then the other last key theme is the power of healing. Despite the darkness and trauma that permeate the novel, there is an underlying message of hope and healing. Sethe and Denver's journey towards reconciliation and the community's collective strength offer glimmers of hope for a future that is not defined by the past. So those are several themes which are presented in the novel. So how are these themes now? How are they relevant today? Are they relevant today? Why is this book even? Why should you even read this book? Is the knowledge or the themes or anything that is presented there relevant today? So let's see that. We'll begin with the first theme that we talked of, the legacy of slavery. So in our contemporary world, the legacy of slavery continues to cast a long shadow over American society, shaping radical disparities in wealth, education, healthcare, and criminal justice. It is still there. From those memories of slavery, they are still there. We have those disparities in wealth, education, healthcare, and criminal justice. Now, the novel's depiction of psychological and emotional scars of slavery serves as a stark reminder of the enduring impact of this dehumanizing institution and the generations of African Americans. Now, the other theme that we talked about was the power of love and memory. So is that relevant today? So love remains as a potent force for healing and transformation, while memory continues to play a crucial role in shaping individual and collective identities. Sethe's love for her children, despite the trauma she has endured, provides a beacon of hope, while the collective memory of slavery serves as a source of both pain and strength for the Black community. Right? So the theme that she talked about was the resilience of the human spirit. Despite the facing unimaginable suffering and oppression, their stories serve as a testament for enduring capacity of the human spirit. So, because of we don't want to prolong this episode of this novel, I'll leave a link to vidanmeds.com. We have a website, vidanmeds.com, where you'll find this write-up of this summary in depth, because I'll not go to everything because of now the limited time that maybe a podcast should have. So I'll skim through so that it can give you a glimpse of what maybe you'll expect when you go to vidanmeds.com/blog. You'll find this summary there and many more that you might like to know about. So vidanmeds.com, I'll leave the link also below the description of this episode. You can have a look at it and you can also share with others. So let's now jump to summary titles, that is main chapters and main sections. We can say this for summary purposes, and maybe what I'm telling you might not be exactly as they are in the book, but for summary purposes, I can summarize it into 3 main sections. Section 1, it is the Sethe's arrival in Cincinnati and the introduction of her family and the haunting presence of Beloved. That can be section 1 with several chapters there. Then I can also put section 2 as Paul's D's departure and Sethe's confrontation with her past. So in section 1, with Zaba, we had Sethe from slavery. Now she's in freedom. Sethe, that is, Paul D comes to her life, and so on. Now Paul D has now left in section 2, and Sethe now is alone with her daughter Denver, so she has to grapple with that. In section 3, I can talk of community's intervention and the healing process. After a long time of suffering, community comes in to help in the healing process. So those are the 3 main sections that I can use to maybe describe the book. Key takeaways and conclusions. What can we take away from this book? So Beloved underscores the enduring trauma and psychological wounds of slavery, illustrating how the past can resurface and haunt individuals and communities. That is one of the key takeaways. Another takeaway is the novel highlights the significance of memory and the need to confront and acknowledge one's history to heal and move on. That's the second one. The third one, the legacy of slavery is long and complex, and it continues to affect the lives of African Americans today. That's another takeaway. Another one is love is a powerful force that can heal and redeem. Another takeaway is memory is a double-edged sword. It can be a source of pain and suffering, but can also be a source of strength and inspiration. Another takeaway is the importance of community. We should always be in a community. It's very important. You see how it came into Sethe's life to help in healing. So who is Toni Morrison, the author of this book? Author's background and qualifications. Now, Toni Morrison, that is the name that she is mostly known with, but her real name is Chloe Adelia Warford Morrison. Chloe Adelia Warford Morrison. That's the real name, but we better call her Toni Morrison. Was an American novelist, essayist, book editor, and a college professor who won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1993. She was the first African American woman to receive the Nobel Peace, that is Nobel Prize in Literature. Now, early life and education. Morrison was born in was born in Ohio, that is 1931, that is on February. Her parents, George and Rama, were both working class African Americans. Morrison's father was a welder and her mother was a homemaker. Morrison grew up in a close-knit family and had a happy childhood. She was a voracious reader and loved to tell stories. So you can see her writing stories, writing passion came long while she was still a child. So Morrison attended Howard University in Washington, D.C., where she majored in English. She graduated in 1953 and went on to earn a master's degree in American literature from Cornell University in 1955. Her career, after graduating from Cornell with a master's, Morrison taught English at Texas Southern University and Howard University. She also worked as an editor of Random House, where she edited the works of such authors as Toni Morrison, Bambara, Angela Davis, and Muhammad Ali. So Morrison's first novel, The Bluest Eye, you can also find The Bluest Eye in our website, vidanmeds.com/blog. You can also search in there, The Bluest Eye, you'll find it there, which was published in 1970. And the novel was a critical and commercial success, and it established Morrison as a major American voice. She went on to write several other acclaimed novels, such as The Song of Solomon in 1977, then we have this Beloved in 1987. We also have another one, Jazz, in 1992, and we also have another one, Paradise, in 1997. So, in addition to her novels, she also wrote several collections of essays, including Playing in the Dark, The Source of Self-Regard, etc. Now, she was also awarded and given some honors from her contribution to literature. So she received numerous awards and honors for her work, including the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction for Beloved in 1988 and the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1993. She was also a member of the American Academy of Arts and Letters and the American Academy of Arts and Sciences. She died in August 5, 2019 at the age of 88. She is survived by her two sons, Harold and Slade. Now, her legacy still remains. She has some interesting facts that you need to know about her. She was the first African-American woman to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. She was the first African-American woman to win the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction. She was a member of the American Academy for Arts and Letters and the American Academy for Arts and Sciences. She was awarded the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2012. And then lastly, she was named one of the 100 most influential people in the world by Time magazine in 2016. Several books which can be compared to Beloved by Toni Morrison. We have The Underground Railroad. You can look at the similarities and the differences. The blog section. The Color Purple. The Color Purple is another novel which is also can have a significant comparison to this one. We can also look at the similarities and differences from a blog section in the website. Now, we had talked to the target audience who this book is best suited for earlier on. I don't think that I'll need to go back to that. That is, I began this one in the first section of this podcast. But students of African American literature, history and culture, book clubs, readers who just want to expand their knowledge in race, identity, trauma, individuals who appreciate Toni Morrison's writing. Right. Even community leaders can use this book as a way of bringing or helping people or as a catalyst for discussions and initiatives that promote social justice, healing, and understanding. Mental health professionals can also use this book to gain some insights on how they can help individuals who are affected by slavery, the trauma, to understand just how the environment is in there. Book clubs and discussion groups can also use this book. Now, this book has had some quite significant reception and critical response upon its publication in 1987. Reviewers praised Morrison's work, ability to capture the psychological and emotional impact of slavery on both the enslaved and their descendants. So she captured that psychological and emotional impact of memory so well. So some also, you see, you cannot have all the positives. You also have to have some negatives to help you know how to maybe adapt or change or what to do next. So they also said the book was difficult to read. Violence of and trauma, etc. We've talked of the words. Look at them. So let me give you some more recommendations as I wind up of books which are based or which have same themes or same setting as this one. You have The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. You can have that. The Known World by Edward Jones. It's another one. Kindred by Octavia Butler. Another one. The Color Purple, we've talked of that, by Alice Walker. Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. Book Thief by Marcos Zusak. Can have that. The biggest takeaway from this book, the main message of Beloved, is that the past, even the most traumatic, cannot be erased and must be confronted in order to heal. There is no way you'll ever erase the past, whether good or bad, traumatic, unless you just confront it head on and deal with it. You can never avoid it. That's what this book's main or biggest takeaway is from us. So how can we apply the knowledge now that we've learned from this book? I know you now have the plot summary, the themes, the synopsis, everything. These are synopses of the book. So now, bearing in mind of what you've talked about, how can you apply the knowledge that you've gotten in real life? Number one, you can use it to understand the impact of trauma. How you understand how trauma can affect. You can use the book to recognize the importance of confronting the past, to heal on those past traumas, etc. We can appreciate the power of community now. We've seen how community came into hand to help Sethe heal. Another one is if these are some of the specific examples. If you are working with a trauma survivor, be patient and understanding. Allow them to talk about their experiences in their own time and way. Offer support and encouragement. Number two, if you are struggling with your own past, seek professional help. Talk to a therapist or a counselor. Join a support group also. If you also want to help others who are struggling, get involved in your community. Volunteer your time to organizations that support people who have experienced trauma. And you can also donate to charities that support these organizations. Well, that is the end of this synopsis. Remember, we've skimmed because of timing, but that was a good insight. It now gave you an overview of what the book is, the key themes, etc., the author, and some of the takeaways and how we can use the book. Remember, you can support us by purchasing this book. You can stock it in your library. You can give somebody by purchasing it through the link that we have below the description of this episode. It is an affiliate link taking you direct to Amazon. Please, you will not pay more by using it, but you will just help us or support us into bringing more good content to you. And I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for your time. I know you could have used this time to do other things, but thank you for your time. I would like to ask you to give us a review, a rating, and maybe tell us what you have thought of it, or what maybe we can adjust or improve on. In the meantime, I want to say thank you. May God bless you. Till next time, bye bye.